You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Happy Friday, everyone. It is Friday, February 13th, 2026. And, usually that date is this superstitious nightmare.
Black cats, broken mirrors, the whole thing.
Exactly. Staying in bed just in case a piano falls on your head. But looking at the tech landscape today, it feels less like bad luck and more like we've hit a jackpot of absolute weirdness.
It's definitely one of the stranger weeks on record, though I guess if you're a traditional banker, maybe it does feel a bit like Friday the 13th.
Haha. Fair point. Welcome back to Vocal Technologist. I know, we usually do this midweek, so just treat this as a Web3 Wednesday on a Friday.
Time is relative, right? Especially when you measure it in block heights instead of hours.
Because let's be honest, in this industry, time is basically a flat circle anyway. Markets don't close, bots don't sleep, and apparently neither do we.
Not this week, anyway.
Exactly. And today we are casting a really wide net. We're not just talking about digital coins going up or down. We're talking about a world where AI agents have their own bank accounts, where Ethereum is undergoing what looks like a heart transplant, and where silver trading is moving to the blockchain.
It's easy to get excited about the shiny new toys, and there are a lot of them this week, but I think the real story here is it's structural.
Structural how?
If you look closely at what's happening, we're witnessing this separation of human finance from machine finance. We're building parallel rails. And as usually happens, you get the regulatory crackdown that inevitably follows.
That is exactly what we're here to unpack. So the mission for today, we are going to explore the rise of the Agentic Economy. We'll look at the massive infrastructure shifts, things like zkEVM and these real-time blockchains, and we'll tour the global regulatory tug-of-war from Massachusetts all the way to Malaysia.
Let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with this idea of the Agentic Economy. Because for the longest time, when we talked about users in tech, we meant people. You and me.
Right. Tapping on glass screens.
But that definition is changing fast. I saw a stat that just blew my mind. By 2030, AI could account for anywhere from 30 to 80% of all crypto activity.
That sounds aggressive, I know, but when you break it down, it's really the logical conclusion of where we're headed. We're moving into a world of autonomous agents.
Software designed to do stuff for us.
Exactly. But there's a massive bottleneck right now.
And the bottleneck is money.
Specifically, access to the banking system. Think about it. An AI agent is just code. It can't walk into a bank, shake hands, show a driver's license to open an account.
All the know your customer, the KYC laws.
Yeah.
They're designed for people, for biology.
Entirely.
Yeah.
So if an AI needs to buy server space or pay for an API or even trade data with another bot, it's stuck. In the traditional system, yes, it has to go ask its human owner for a credit card.
Which kind of defeats the whole autonomy thing.
It completely defeats it. If an AI needs permissionless execution, it needs permissionless money. That is why we are seeing networks like Coinbase's Layer 2 positioning themselves specifically as the infrastructure for these agents.
They're not just for human traders anymore. They're building plumbing for bots.
That's the play.
Yeah.
And the tech enabling this is fascinating. We're seeing the rise of something called BUY 402. It's a standard for HTTP native micropayments.
Break that down for us. Why is that such a big deal?
Well, the current web payment model is just broken. For machines, anyway.
Why can't I just give my bot my Visa card?
You could, but the economics would kill you. Let's say your AI agent needs to pay another agent for a single sentence of text. The value of that might be 1/10 of a cent.
Okay.
If you use a credit card, the processing fee, the swipe fee, is usually 30 cents plus a percentage.
So you'd be paying 30 cents in fees just to move a fraction of a penny.
Exactly. The friction costs more than the product. BUY 402 changes that. It's an HTTP standard, so it's built right into the web, that allows for streaming money. It's like turning on a faucet of value.
And get this, Stripe is jumping in. They're launching a preview for machine payments using this BUY 402 on base with USDC.
Which is a massive validation. I mean, Stripe is the king of traditional internet payments. For them to say, okay, for machines, the credit card rails don't work, so we're using crypto rails, that signals a major shift.
It's an admission that the future of payments isn't just plastic cards.
It's programmatic streams. And speaking of speed, that brings up this tool called Unbrowse. This thing really highlights the difference between human speed and machine speed.
Right. It speeds up AI agent web interactions from, 45 seconds down to 200 milliseconds?
Yeah, and the reason for that 45-second delay is usually us, humans.
How so?
Well, the modern web is heavy. It's full of images, ads, tracking scripts, all designed for human eyes. Unbrowse uses Buy402 to let bots pay each other for raw data instantly. It just bypasses the visual stuff entirely.
A dedicated lane for machines?
Right.
But this raises a kind of scary question. If you have millions of bots paying each other in milliseconds, how do you know who you're dealing with?
Exactly. Trust. You don't want your AI buying data from a hallucinating scam bot.
Right.
Precisely. And that's where we see new standards like ERC 8004 coming in. It's creating on-chain registries for identity, reputation, validation. We're even seeing projects like Virtual's protocol giving agents on-chain wallets by default.
So every bot gets a bank account and an ID card the moment it's born.
Effectively, yes.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Vitalik Buterin has a very interesting take. He calls it defensive acceleration.
Defensive acceleration sounds like a football strategy.
It does, doesn't it? But the concept is vital. The idea isn't just to race toward HEI blindly. It's about using crypto tools like privacy, cryptography, to keep humans in the loop.
So we don't let one centralized company become a god.
That's the fear. This is about using the blockchain to coordinate these agents decentrally to defend human agency in a world of super-fast machines.
That's actually a comforting thought. Building the seatbelts at the same time we're building the engine. But speaking of engines, let's talk about the plumbing. There's a huge narrative shift happening in Ethereum. I keep seeing zkEVM is the new merge.
This is a really significant technical pivot. For the last few years, the roadmap for Ethereum was totally rollup-centric.
Meaning just outsource everything.
Exactly. The philosophy was Ethereum mainnet is too slow and expensive, so let's move all the activity to layer 2s and just use Ethereum as the secure vault.
Let the main chain be the vault and the L2s be the cash registers.
That was the plan. But zkEVM zero-knowledge tech has progressed way faster than anyone anticipated. The new idea is to make Ethereum's main layer able to verify these execution proofs directly.
Okay, unpack that. Does that mean the main chain gets faster?
In a way, it means the main layer can verify that a huge batch of transactions happened correctly without rerunning every single one. It brings massive scalability back to the main chain.
So it puts pressure on all those other L2s.
It definitely puts pressure on the generic ones. If the main chain gets faster, why do I need a slow bridge to a layer 2?
Right. And while Ethereum is doing that internal upgrade, we have these speed demons entering the chat. Have you seen what MegaETH is doing?
The self-proclaimed real-time blockchain.
Yeah. It sounds like a video game console. They just launched a mainnet claiming 50,000 transactions per second with 10 millisecond blocks. 10 milliseconds.
It's blistering speed, and the way they do it is by separating execution from settlement. They run the heavy math off-chain, but they settle the final score on Ethereum.
And then there's Zero, another new layer 1, using what they call heterogeneous architecture.
Which is a fancy way of saying they split the job up. It's a factory line. One part builds blocks, another validates them. They're targeting 2 million TPS per zone.
Wow. It feels like the horsepower wars in cars. Everyone just screaming about bigger numbers.
It does, but there is some critical skepticism here, and I think it's warranted. Vitalik has been pretty vocal about criticizing what he calls copycat L2s.
The generic ones?
Exactly. There's a feeling that just launching another chain that runs the same code as everyone else is a dead end. We don't need 50 versions of the same highway. The future requires meaningful differentiation.
Not just speed, but different capabilities.
Right. Like Midnight Chain. It's launching as a Cardano partner, and its whole focus is on rational privacy.
Why does a blockchain need privacy? Isn't the point that it's public?
For some things, sure. But for business, no. If you're Coca-Cola, you do not want Pepsi to see your entire supply chain on a public ledger.
That's a trade secret.
Rational privacy lets you prove you have the money or the data without revealing the secret details. Or look at Aztec Network. They're pushing ahead with their token launch because they believe privacy is the missing piece of infrastructure.
That makes sense. Corporations won't use this stuff if their competitors can read their diary. Now, I want to shift gears to the financial layer. Because despite all this incredible tech, there's this pervasive vibe session.
The vibe session. It's a great term.
It really is. People feel anxious. They're worried about AI taking their jobs. The economy feels shaky. And that makes financial speculation feel kind of toxic.
It creates a real disconnect. Consumer sentiment is negative, but if you look at the on-chain numbers, the story is completely different.
Right. Meme coins and AI tokens are leading the market. It's like the worse people feel, the more they want to bet on a dog wearing a hat.
It's a fascinating psychological hedge. But underneath all that, There's a massive institutional shift happening toward RWA's real-world assets.
This is the boring but important stuff I love.
It is. Tokenized U.S. Treasuries have gone from basically zero to over $2.5 billion in total value locked. People are earning 4 to 5% on Treasuries or even 8 to 15% on private credit, all on-chain.
It's basically high-yield savings for the digital age. But here's where it gets really interesting for me. The hyperliquid versus CME showdown.
Ah, yes, a pivotal moment for market structure geeks.
So hyperliquid is a crypto exchange. CME is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the big leagues. And during a recent crash in silver, hyperliquid just kept running.
It did. During a weekend volatility event, traditional finance was largely closed because, banks and commodities markets take the weekend off.
Which is insane in 2026.
It is. But Hyperliquid processed $257 million in silver trades over that weekend, $250 million when the traditional doors were locked.
That is wild.
Now, to be fair, the spreads widened, it got more expensive, but the market functioned. It provided liquidity when the traditional system was just offline.
It shows these 247 markets aren't just toys anymore. And we're seeing weird signals in the derivatives market, too. Bitcoin futures open interest dropped, and funding rates went negative.
Binance was at negative 7%, yeah.
For the listener who doesn't trade derivatives, what is the market telling us there?
It's a very weird signal. Usually the optimists, the longs, pay the pessimists to keep their bets open.
Right, because the default is up.
But when the rate goes negative, it flips. The people betting on the price dropping are so aggressive that they're paying the optimists.
So the crowd is paying a premium just to bet against Bitcoin.
Exactly. It indicates extreme fear. It's deleveraging. But, and here's the twist, the options markets show the smart money is doing the exact opposite. They're bottom fishing.
So the herd is panicking and the pros are buying the dip. A tale as old as time.
History doesn't repeat, but it certainly rhymes.
Let's transition to the rules of the game, because the regulatory chessboard is moving just as fast as the tech.
Oh, the lawyers are busy. We have the Genius Act and MiCA in Europe setting the stage, and they're splitting stablecoins into 2 tiers. You have Tier 1, what they call constitutional cash.
Constitutional cash sounds serious.
It is. Strict reserves, no yield, designed to be as safe as physical cash. Then you have Tier 2, synthetic cash, which is riskier.
So they're labeling the bottles safe to drink and drink at your own risk.
Pretty much. And in the U.S., the NCUA, the National Credit Union Administration, just released rules that are huge for adoption.
This is the 120-day rule, right?
Yes. If a credit union applies to issue a token and the regulator doesn't answer in 120 days, it's automatically approved.
That is huge. Usually regulators just let applications sit in a drawer until you give up. This forces them to act.
It flips the default from no to yes. It's a massive incentive for credit unions to start experimenting.
But not everyone is getting the red carpet. We have to talk about the drama in Massachusetts. Polymarket is suing the state.
This is a classic showdown. Massachusetts wants to ban prediction markets, classifying them as gambling.
Which, to be fair, betting on whether Taylor Swift gets engaged, it feels a bit like gambling.
It can feel that way. But Polymarket's argument is that they're federally regulated derivatives under the CFTC. Their defense is, we aren't a casino. We are a financial market for information.
Information.
Think about it. When you bet on an election, the aggregate of all those bets often predicts the outcome better than polls. They argue they're creating a public utility truth discovery.
So it's a state versus federal cage match.
Precisely. And while the U.S. is fighting over that, the rest of the world is moving on. Europe is actively trying to break up with Visa and MasterCard.
The breakup.
They launched Wero, a payment network for 130 million users. They call it payment sovereignty.
Which is code for, we don't want American companies controlling our money.
Exactly. It's a national security issue for them.
Meanwhile, Hong Kong is opening up, while South Korea is tightening the screws, but for a very funny reason.
That Bithumb incident.
Yeah, Bithumb accidentally sent 620,000 Bitcoin to users. That's a lot of zeros.
An operational nightmare. And predictably, the regulators are now cracking down. It's a reminder that even in future finance, someone can still fat finger a keyboard.
Oops, I just sent a small country's GDP to the wrong wallet. Rough day.
Very rough.
So we've been on a whirlwind tour here. We went from AI agents paying each other micropayments to credit unions getting automatic approval to issue digital dollars.
To Europe trying to divorce Visa. Really shows the breadth of what's happening.
And did you know, even Robinhood, the app everyone's cousin uses, just launched a testnet for their own chain.
That's a key indicator. The lines between a crypto app and a fintech app are completely gone.
So what does this all mean for the listener? What's the long game here?
I think we're seeing the internet's financial layer finally getting built. Think of it as TCP/IP for money. It starts with finance. That's the boring infrastructure phase we're in now, but then it moves to media, gaming, and everything else.
So we're in the construction phase.
Exactly. We are laying the fiber optic cables of value transfer.
Yeah.
It's messy, it's loud, but the network is growing.
You know, it leaves me with a bit of a provocative thought, though. If AI agents are going to be 80% of the economy, and they don't need sleep or holidays or coffee breaks, are we building this financial system for us? Or are we just the maintenance crew building it for them?
That is the multi-trillion-dollar question. If the primary user of the future economy is silicon, not carbon, our role in it might look very different than we expect. We might just be the biological bootloader for the machine economy.
A comforting thought to head into the weekend with. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thanks for diving in with us. Catch you next time on Vocal Technologist. And try not to let a bot take your lunch money.
Take care, everyone.
Spoken Tech for your ears.